Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to RLH for another week, and we've got C2 action this evening from Mexico. So it's a place I don't think we've been in the recent past. I've certainly not been involved in any races for the last season or two around this Mexican Grand Prix circuit. Either way, we'll get on with it tonight. We've got 17 drivers present. I think we were set to have 18, so whether we're just waiting on one late joiner, I'm not entirely sure. We'll keep an eye on that. But we do already have cars out on track, and we'll get a little bbit of information up so you can follow all the action, of course, and get the full track map on so we can see where the relative cars are. And the first man out is one of the Haas drivers by the looks of it, Siguro Matu. He's set the fastest lap of the race in the last two races, I believe, in Austria and Monaco. But missing out on the ultimate race results, so we'll be able to keep an eye on him this week and see if he can harness some of that speed and get some big points on the board. And he comes around the final couple of corners then through the stadium section, and he'll be the first man to start a lap. And there's a few cars coming out of the pits, but he should be able to navigate those with not too much trouble. There's a fair amount of traffic just jockeying for position in the final sector, coming around to start the lap, but Siguro Matu with the DRS open, looking for his braking point into turn 1, picks it out pretty nicely, gets turned in, and tricky turns 2 and 3 with the very high curbs, and yeah, that little bit of traffic just in front, maybe giving him a very distant tow, down to 4, where again it's picking out your braking point, and not wanting to run too deep, and get it lined up for 5 again, tricky little sausage curb there. 6 and 7 is essentially one corner, and the Williams staying out of the way, and now you're into this sort of sweeping middle sector where it's left, right, left, and yeah, all looks pretty neat and tidy. He's kept it on the track so far. We'll go on board through the final part, and he does just lose it there, so that's I think going to be a bit of a theme. We'll see plenty of that throughout qualifying, and hopefully not too many penalties during the race. I think the next man might be this Red Bull, is it? No, that's so is it maybe is it Phillip Hogston on a lap? So yeah, I think that's LS24 in front of us. Just needs to watch out. Yeah, he's getting on with it, so it shouldn't be an issue for Phillip Hogston, who it should be the first man around to start a lap, to finish a lap even, and put a time on the board with a 16.7. Next we're going to see it's going to be Phil across the line and slots in with a 19.0 on mediums. Not a massively impressive lap. We've lost Huss for some reason. Not entirely sure why that is, but he is back in the pits, so hopefully we can get him back. Alex Kay goes to the top of the pile, your pole sitter for the last 2 races at least, and yeah, 15.8 puts him well clear of the pack so far. Schnitzy on a 16.8, Snellhenk on a 17.1, and Monster on a 17.2, so yeah, a couple of quite a few drivers actually around that sort of high 16, low 17 range on the soft tyres so far, and James in the Williams slots in on the medium tyre with a very good 1.16.9, and Lurch just ahead of his teammate with an 18.7, and someone else has just got in there again on the mediums. It's Vico with a 17.0, so 9 laps on the board. We'll try and pick out a couple more. Sky Baxendale is on the soft tyres, so Williams splitting strategies so far. He comes across the line with a 17.2. Can't match his teammate's pace actually, despite the softer tyres. Someone else has just got in there as well. Was that LS24? Yeah, 16.0, slots in just behind the McLaren of Alex Kay so far. Huss, we think maybe having a few issues. Jappy is in the pits. These are all still in the pits. Dragos, Siguro Matu, Goran, and just in time is yeah, going for a little bit of a detour through the middle sector, so that's not going to be a lap for him. So the first laps are pretty much complete then, barring a few drivers that have either invalidated or not managed to get out on track just yet. It'll be interesting to see one of the Ferraris there. I wonder if they're going for another lap. Lurch is improving. So does he continue on? So it looks like he's still pushing on. And does indeed go through the final corner and across the line. Is it an improvement? It is, to a 17.9. Not bad, but yeah, probably going to have to throw a set of soft tyres at that later in qualifying. And who else is potentially still on a lap? Phil improving as well, but needs to from that 19.0. Not a great first lap for the Ferrari driver. And yeah, improving by 1.1, so that'll put him pretty much on par with his teammate. But it does mean they've burnt through a set of medium tyres that may be needed for the race. And across the line he comes. It's going to be a high 17, slots in and just takes that P10 off his teammate with a 17.7. But yeah, both Ferraris just missing a bit of ultimate pace, so probably going to need that soft tyre as Phillip Hogston is approaching behind, I think, on a... Has he finished his lap? I think he improved on that last lap, so he's done quite a few laps actually on the same set of softs and goes wide at turn 1 as they're all sort of jockeying for position. Hopefully none of these drivers are trying to put a lap together. I think most of them have finished a lap, but yeah, Dragos is on an out lap. There's quite a bit of traffic here to pick our way through and see who's doing what. Jappy's on a lap actually by the looks of it, so hopefully he didn't get held up by all that. The Aston Martin coming through now into the second sector. We'll go on board throughout this. Get a good demonstration of these sweeping S's out the back of the circuit. All looks pretty tidy. Kept it on the track. Good stuff. DRS open down this little back straight. Now you're picking a braking point. Can't turn in too early because of that sausage curb. And these final couple of corners are just so frustrating, so slow. You need to get the nose in nicely. And yeah, taking a lot of curb through what is effectively the penultimate corner and across the line. It's keeping it a tight line as well. Goes across with a 16.6, puts him on the second row so far with P4. And we'll keep an eye out on Dragos because he's starting a lap. And potentially who's that? Is that Monster? He's starting a lap on the medium tyre by the looks of things. We'll stick with Dragos for now as he tries to pick out his braking point for turn 1. Just about at the 100 metre board. Turns right, then left, then right again, and he'll open the DRS up for the second straight. A little bit of traffic. That's the Aston of Jappy, isn't it? Who's just set a lap. Hopefully, we'll either get on with it or move over before the second sector. A little bit of a lock up for Dragos. Just ran slightly wide in turn 4. Clearly running without the ABS. So yeah, credit to him that. Taking a very wide entry into the left-hander. The Aston does get well out of the way. Using absolutely all of the track, the Alpha here. Definitely on all the right parts of the racetrack. We'll see in the not-too-distant future where it's going to put him. Took a lot of entry curb in there, didn't he, to the final stadium section. Through the final couple of corners he'll come. Again, right up over that sausage curb. Oh, he's a little bit wide. Yeah, he's lost the time for that, actually. He's just about a little cheeky sneak into the pit lane. We'll pretend we didn't see that. Just in time is on a lap now. I don't see any massive changes up the order. Goran has gone 4th at some point with a 16.5. I think he's returning to the pits now, so we've just missed that. And we will keep an eye on just in time as this lap goes on. He's had to put the soft tyres on. I think he was on the mediums earlier on when he spun. But yeah, straight back out on track with 8 minutes, just under 8.5 minutes remaining. Needs to get a lap on the board. Needs to get a banker in. And this is, of course, where he lost it last time. Some yellow flags as drivers just getting out of the way on the main straight. But all looks much better this time. Oh, does it? No, he's going to be in the wall with that one. And he's going to start dead last then. So no drivers coming up, so it's not going to, or shouldn't affect any laps of other drivers. But yeah, very, very loose rear end on that Alpine. And he is in the wall. Left front wheel and front wing both missing. And we've got some cars coming around that hopefully avoid this car that's been sat there quite a while. That was very close from the Red Bull. As this car should really be getting recovered. And it does indeed. A little bit of handbags going on there, perhaps. I think Alex is on a lap. And maybe Phil didn't quite anticipate that was happening. But, did it cost Alex anything, or is he still going to improve? He comes across the line, 15.4, does still improve, and puts a about half-second buffer to LS24 behind him. And Phil now is going to sneak a bit of the slipstream from the McLaren, who gets well out of the way. Keep an eye out on Phil then with these soft tyres on now. What can he manage in the first sector? As yeah, Alex staying well out of the way, and that's causing us a yellow flag down at turn 1. As I think perhaps Schnitzy, is it? That's coming in behind. Phil, a little bit wide through turn 4, and that's going to compromise him through 5 as well. The double right-hander next on the agenda, and yeah, just one of the Alfa Romeos up front, so no traffic concerns really for Phil on this lap. And we'll see his second sector time very soon, using all of the track there, and across he will come now. What's it going to be? 1.1, so that's going to put him about the 16.6 range. So yeah, that's pretty decent. Could put him into the sort of top 5 positions, and you'd expect to improve as well with the soft tyres through this final sector. Traffic shouldn't be an issue, and he'll come across the line. Does he stick for that tight line? No, lets it run out for best traction. 16.0. Big improvement in the final sector to go P2 as it stands. Lurch is going to go with an improvement as well, P5. So big improvement for the Ferrari drivers with the soft tyres on, and yeah, definitely vindicating that decision. And I think we'll probably see the likes of James and Vico also going for that soft tyre. The medium not really working out for anyone in this qualifying session. And who's going to be the next man to cross the line? There is a couple coming across, but we'll stick with Sky Baxendale, and then we won't because he's not improving. Who else is Jappy? Is on an outlap. Snellhenk, no. Who is Vico coming across the line to start a lap on softs? So yeah, he's gone out there. James also on softs. In fact, we'll stick with James because he looked to have pretty decent pace on the mediums. And with the improvements, in fact, he's invalidated, so that's a shame for him. What I was about to say, Schnitzy's lost it out the back somewhere as well in the S's. Yeah, it'd be interesting. James obviously is going to have to probably return to the pits and put a new set of tyres on, fuel up again, and go again in the final few minutes of the session. But he was sort of one of the quicker drivers on the medium tyre, wasn't he? So with a set of softs on, it will be very interesting. And Vico, also the other man who's yet to put a time on the board with the soft tyres, and looking pretty impressive in the first sector so far. And yeah, using every inch he can get away with. Back end out a little bit. That might just cost him the lap. It did put him offline, and he just caught the white line on the inside there. And unfortunately, he has lost the lap. He was improving by about a second though, so that would have put him right up there, up the front. Siguramato has gone across the line with a 15.9. We just missed that, and he joins Alex on the front row. Definitely two of the quickest drivers in this category, as we've mentioned earlier on, with poles and fastest laps being shared between them quite regularly. And yeah, both missing out on wins in recent races, as maybe the weather's just took a little turn for the worse. Just under 4 minutes remaining. It's still frustrating that we don't get the session timer when there's a yellow flag for cars travelling slowly. However, yeah, it's looking very overcast out there. We should be able to get the final few laps in, but it'd be interesting to see if that change in temperature has any effect on the pace. LS24 goes across the line, slight improvement into the 15s, goes third. And there's a few drivers in the pits now just preparing for their final runs. We've still got the two RPM boys of Huss and Dragos without a time. Dragos going out on track now. Huss wasn't in the session earlier. He left the session at some point. I'm not entirely sure if he managed to get back in. In fact, Huss is having some wheel trouble by the sounds of it, so yeah, that's unfortunate for him. We may have lost Huss for the evening. Right, back to it. Who have we got on a lap? Alex has just started a lap. Siguramato improving slightly in the first sector by the looks of things. LS24 is improving again. So we'll stick with him into the stadium section. One of the next men to cross the line. Jappy is going across the line. Don't think he's on a lap. And LS24 rounds the final corner. What's it going to be? We've lost Siguramato through the S's, so he's not going to be on pole. LS24 demotes him to third as well. So, yeah, bit of a swift change of fortunes for the Haas driver there. And who have we got next to cross the line? We've got Dragos on an out lap. So 3 drivers we've lost, and I think they've all been through various parts of the S's in Sector 2. All 3 crashes. So Lurch is coming around to start a lap. We've got LS24 still going. That's his in lap, yeah. Who else have we got? We've got James starting a lap. The other one is Monster, again starting a lap. Alex is... he's invalidated. So will he go again? Does he have fuel to go again? He is starting. Another lap, yeah. Who else can we find? Vico is invalidated again, and it would appear that's his qualifying over. So he's got a lap on the mediums. He never managed to get a lap on the softs, and there's not enough time to get round again. Jappy goes up to P7 with a 16.2. We've missed another lap from him, unfortunately. Phillip Hogston starting a lap. And LS24 is going to pit. So the first man to cross the line will be Dragos, who's run a little bit wide. Just a bit of mid-corner understeering again, missing the apex to the left-hander there at the end of the lap. So it's all gone a little bit scrappy. It should be enough to get him a decent time on the board. What's it going to be? Is it in the 16s? Yeah, 16.7 puts him P11, does improve. Lurch is out through the final couple of corners, not improving and not pushing by the looks of it. Does he pit? No, he continues on. Is it going to improve on his 16.2? It is not. We've got a car behind him, which maybe someone's just moved up. James! That was the one! That was the one we were looking out for. I was just trying to find him by scrolling through the positions. And it goes provisional pole, and then we lose it again to Alex K. So a 15.3 beaten by a 15.1. Phil is improving slightly. Can he get himself on the second row? He does. Puts himself ahead of Siguramato. And Phillip Hogston doesn't seem to be improving. Jappy, I think he's on an in-lap. I'm pretty sure that's qualifying over. And yeah, a little bit of drama at the end. We mentioned earlier that James was one of the quickest on the mediums that had set that time on the mediums in the first part of the session. And we were keeping an eye out for him. Unfortunately, missed him by a couple of seconds as he crossed the line. And then, whilst still looking for him, we missed the lap of Alex K to continue his pole record. And yeah, 15.1, very impressive lap that was indeed. But can he convert it into a win this time? He's not managed to do that for the last couple of races. And now we're just waiting for the relative drivers to complete their in-laps. And yeah, there's a few of them out there, so it'll just take a minute or so. And then we'll be on the grid, hopefully with much brighter conditions for the race. But yeah, good performance from both of the Ferraris, it has to be said. 4th and 7th. Both will be starting on the soft tyres, as will everyone else in the top 10. Sky Baxendale gets free choice, as does Dragos. Just 2/1000ths of a second separating those two at the end of qualifying. And Snellhink also sitting there on a 16.7 as well. Schnitzy crashed out earlier on, having set a 16.8. Vico, we said earlier, invalidated, I think, both soft tyre attempts he tried. Sits 15th on his only attempt, which was on the mediums. And then Huss we have lost, and just in time. We lost very early on with one spin on his first lap, and then another spin, unfortunately, into the barriers on his second attempt. He will be right down the back of the grid, but he does have some pace when he can keep it pointing in the right direction. He tends to be pretty solid, so I wouldn't be at all surprised to see him coming through the field. And what can we see? Oh, excuse me. Confirmation of your qualifying results then. Alex K, James, LS24, Phil, Siguramato, Phillip Hogston, Lurch Day, Jappy, Goran Potner, Monster, Sky Baxendale, Dragos, Snellhink, Schnitzy, Vico, Huss, and just in time. Hopefully Huss doesn't cause too many issues. We think he has left the session. And yeah, very shortly we'll be on the grid. Drivers outside of the top 10 have to pick their tyres, of course, to start the race on. Everyone needs to pick their starting fuel load, and that can be a little bit tricky in modern F1 without the use of the fuel modes that we've had in previous years. You have to make sure you put enough in, and if there's a lack of safety cars or a lack of expected safety cars and you've underfueled slightly, you can very easily get caught out on that one. And fuel saving is not as easy as it used to be. You have to do some serious lift and coasting and short shifting. So yeah, it's always better perhaps to go with or go without underfueling. And that looks a pretty dark cloud just above the pit building, doesn't it? So it's nice and bright to the right of your screen, but definitely some clouds in the air, and that could always spice things up if we're looking for a bit of action. And yeah, very shortly we'll be on the grid. I'll just grab a quick drink and be back with you. So Alex K leads us away on the formation lap. He won't be looking too fondly at those clouds. He'll want a nice, straightforward race this evening. Of course, last time we were with C2 in Austria a couple of races ago, he pretty much dominated the race up until the final sort of 5 or 6 laps when the rain began to fall, and unfortunately seemed to pit and refit a set of slick tyres. Dropped him down, I think, to P4 in the end. So he'll be hoping, as we've said, for a very straightforward race. There's your predicted strategy. Soft, soft, medium, or soft, medium, medium. So they are definitely predicting a 2-stop, which should provide us with a decent bit of action. In terms of tyres, your top 10 all on the softs. They qualified on Sky, Baxendale, Schnitzy, Vico, and Just in Time all go with the mediums. Dragos, Snellhenk, both choosing to stick with the softs, and I'm not entirely sure we've got Huss in the session, so hopefully no major issues with that Alpine. Although, but yeah, both Alpines down the back, so not the best of days for them. The fact that Huss is sort of on the back row at least should hopefully mean that no one runs into the back of him off the start, and hopefully at that point we can avoid him for the rest of the race. Alex K is leading us around into the final couple of corners then. We'll be lining up on the grid very shortly indeed. Snellhenk and Schnitzy, return to the start line. Pulling into position now then. Very long run down to turn 1, so pole position not always the prime spot to be in. Hopefully for Alex K's sake he can maintain that position down to turn 1. Just in Time is pulling into position then, so we've got all the cars on the grid and we've got some lights coming on. Hopefully we'll get a forward facing view. There we go, and we've got 3, 4, 5 lights coming on, and we are racing then. Here we go. Alex K gets away pretty well. We'll wait for a bit of a better shot to see the relative starts. James though does tuck in behind for that slipstream, and look, one of the Haas drivers, Siguramato, positioning himself down the left hand side, hopefully all ready for a clean first corner. James can go around the outside. He's keeping it there with him, and he's got the left for the next corner as well inside, yep, and takes the lead from Alex K through turns 1 and 2, and Siguramato up position as well by the looks of things, and we'll just get that back up. Actually, we've missed that, haven't we? Position change. So James leads us away, and there's some jostling for position going on down the mid pack there with the 2 Ferraris, both having lost a couple of positions. Siguramato up 2. Jappy's had a good start. Phil and Lurch is perhaps spinning down the back. He is indeed. No damage done by the looks of things, but he's got a lot of time to make up, down 10 positions already. So James, though, look at the front two already, pulling away, and what on earth's going on here? We've got, Vico has retired, so we've got a first retirement through the, and we've got a car facing backwards as well. That's Jappy, having had such a good start. He's down the order now as well, and we've got a virtual safety car, which may have just saved him a little bit of time as he got back up and running. As we've lost Vico then, and Huss is not in the session either, so even then he's gone up 5 places. Phil's in the pits, so not good news for Ferrari. Is he pitting? Is this strategic? He's going on to the mediums using the virtual safety car. That's interesting. Surprised Lurch didn't try that one as well, having lost all that time. But yeah, Phil's gone for the gamble of pitting under the virtual safety car, and we're still under it, so he's going to get out and get back up to speed. And hopefully can stay under the delta. Sometimes it can catch you out on pit exit, but either way, he's back into... Siguramato, though, has been caught out and gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. That is a massive blow to his race. And we mentioned earlier he'd set the fastest lap in the last couple of races. Well, unfortunately for him, he's going to have to set a few of them if he wants to get back up the front of this race. A drive-through penalty is going to absolutely kill him. And LS24 already onto the back of him. Be interesting to see how long he goes before he takes that penalty. Maybe at this stage, probably better to take it early and get some clear air before the field spread starts to occur. And drivers now starting to make their way past the Alpine of Huss, and hopefully can all do so pretty cleanly. The top two, though, definitely are away and gone. James leads us across the line this time with Alex K. No DRS just yet, of course. Siguramato does pit for that drive-through penalty. LS24 then moves up. Phillip Hogston, Monster, Sky Baxendale, Goran Potner, Dragos. Good start for him, up 4. And what's going on there? It's all just still shuffling around because of Siguramato. Goran Potner, though, is overtaken there by Sky Baxendale. And... yeah, looking to be a very good start for Williams. So James up 1 to P1, and Sky Baxendale up 5 to P6. So yeah, good stuff for the Williams team. And yeah, pretty horrific start for Ferrari. Although one of the sort of drops Phil down 12 is because he's made a seemingly tactical pit stop. And what's going on up the front? Still pretty much Alex just about maintaining himself within the DRS, as James will be trying to break that 1 second window before the end of this lap. It says we're on lap 3. I'm pretty sure we're only on lap 2, and that's a regular sort of timing glitch. We've lost Schnitzy by the looks of things. So a few little issues creeping in this evening that haven't really been the case so far this season, so that's a shame. Either way, we're going to come across the line. Schnitzy back in the session. And apparently we are on lap 4, so maybe we just missed a lap somewhere. It has been known to be a bit of a glitch, but shows lap 3 before it actually is. But either way, we've definitely got DRS for Alex K, and he's not quite close enough this time, but he will get it again down the second straight, and that might be enough. We'll just switch back because we've got a bit of a four-way scrap going here. Goran Potner, Sky Baxendale, Dragos, and Snellhenk. But is there going to be a change of lead? Here we go, down the second of the straights, and he's not close enough this time, is he? James maintaining the lead. LS24 and Monster both up positions and into 3rd and 4th, so looking good for Red Bull as well. They've had a very good start to the race. So Dragos and Snellhenk running side by side through this middle sector. And can Dragos get that position back? It's all very tight in the middle, in the midfield so far this evening. Jappy recovering from that spin up to P10 just in time is running on the mediums. So and actually, yes, Sky Baxendale running mediums as well. So and we've lost a bit of the polystyrene there. Lurch is making his way back through now as well, having had that spin. He's back up to 13th, and a little bit of an awkward moment there as the top two once again trading fastest laps. So now we're going to see Alex K pulling up alongside the Williams this time. Sits in the middle of the track, not going too defensive, and yeah, quite happy for the McLaren to take the lead for now, but I get the feeling this battle isn't quite over just yet, and this time James will get the DRS, and as long as he can stay, as long as he's confident he can stay within the DRS window throughout the middle sector, it's not a bad thing to just sit here and charge your battery up. But if you do drop out of that 1 second at any point, it can certainly you'll soon drop back without the aid of the DRS down the main straight. And Graham Potter's been in for some medium tyres. Not sure if there was any damage there. So yeah, Alex Kay takes over the lead of the race that he lost at the start. And at the moment, James has the DRS open again. We've got yellow flag. Who's that for? Is that Monster? Yeah, he's had somehow lost his front wing. So somewhere in the middle sector, he's seemingly had contact with the wall, and he's going to definitely have to pit with that, of course. Absolutely no front wing on that Red Bull. That's going to understeer like crazy through these final couple of corners. Fastest lap of the race once again for Alex Kay as he tries to stretch his legs, but James now definitely sitting within that DRS window as the Red Bull recovers to the pits. We've got a bit of an overtake going on perhaps here. Dragos still making progress and could be about to go up to P6. They're side by side, so and both have DRS, and obviously running side by side. Neither of them have the slipstream. Will Dragos pull back out? No, he's going to follow the Williams into turn 1, and that will continue on for a little while. Back to the front, but James and Alex Kay still running very close together. Excuse me. Yeah, still running within half a second, so he's pretty confident that he can just sit in that DRS at the moment and make Alex use a bit of his battery and sort of reset that offset that he had to work his battery hard in the first couple of laps to try and break the 1 second barrier. Final section once again, and wait a minute, we've got a very close gap here between Dragos and Sky Baxendale. Just getting a little bit out of shape in the Williams, allowing the Alfa Romeo to think about a move. These soft tyres working well on the Alfa at the moment. He does have a penalty though for track limits. Lurch back up into the top 10 as well, so it's worth keeping an eye on this midfield because there are a lot of cars very close together. Just keep an eye on these two up the front. No change there. Dragos though with DRS this time, and Sky Baxendale does not have the DRS this time. So it should be a fairly simple move. Whether it gets changed around straight away again on the following straight, we'll soon see. Just in time also going ahead of Jappy for P8. Lurch following them pretty closely behind. Phil not really making too much progress on those mediums yet, although he is where in relation to the leader. He's 27 seconds off the lead, but that makes it effectively 22 off of P3. So yeah, it could work out for Phil, depending on how far he can take those mediums. If you can still make it into effectively a one-stop race from here, running on 2 sets of the mediums, then perhaps he could be in for a very good result. Although he did use a set of mediums at the start of quali, didn't he? So maybe that wasn't the ideal use of that set of tyres. Back up to the front again for the start-finish straight. And I get the feeling James isn't that bothered about making a move just yet. He's quite happy to sort of sit behind. And he'll probably prove me wrong here now by going through. But yeah, he's going to go for the move. We'll see how bothered he gets about defending down into turn 4 though. Maybe just quite happy to keep DRSing past each other. Pulling away from the rest of the pack at the moment. They're definitely in a league of their own. He has the DRS though, doesn't he? Because there's only one detection point. Yeah, of course. So James does have the rear wing to defend himself effectively, and pulls into a pretty healthy lead as far as these two have gone anyway. Phil gets ahead of Huss for P13. That's the Alpine that's sort of a ghost car this evening, running around by itself. Zigurumatu is making decent progress back towards the pack after having that drive-through penalty. So not great starts for Haas, but just starting to edge back towards the action now. And what's going on further up the order then? The midfield just starting to settle down a little bit. What have we got? Lap 8. So not quite thinking about pit stops just yet. Although Alex a little bit out of shape. That's going to put him maybe just a little too far behind. We'll see how effective the DRS is. 6/10 off at the moment. And he's getting a good tow from there, isn't he? Probably not going to be quite close enough. It's going to be a pretty late move if he does. James gives him plenty of space. And yeah, Alex through this time. All pretty much after you at the moment, isn't it? They're not getting their elbows out just yet. It is only lap 9 of 36, so I'm sure we'll see that later on if they're still in that position on lap 34 or something. But Sky Baxendale and Jappy now running side by side through turns 2 and 3, and Jappy having to almost run off the track there, but now has the DRS and should pull away from the Williams. So in fact, just in time, has sort of overtook and driven away from Sky Baxendale. So his medium tyre is working very well. The Williams driver just starting to drop back a little bit. Lurch is now still running P10, but has Schnitzy for company. So it's there's a pretty even match of medium and softs down the order now. So from 7th is medium soft, medium soft, medium soft, medium soft. So the top 6 to pit. Oh, LS24 has been round as well. So it was looking so good for Red Bull in the early laps, and a couple of mistakes for them. And he has only dropped to P4 behind Phillip Hogston, as once again these two getting pretty close. And James should now picks up a 3-second penalty. We saw that on board, just taking a little bit too much of turn 2. He'll have the DRS open once again, but that changes this fight now, definitely, doesn't it? Alex K, no penalty. He's only lap 10, not even a third of the way through this race yet. So definitely has the chance of picking up his own penalty, but that is not what James would have wanted at this early stage. Sort of waiting for a round of pit stops to happen then, aren't we? Most of the drivers, well, it'd be interested to see how many people have actually been in. Not that many, actually. So, we've lost potentially someone else. That's Sky Baxendale. And no damage, but he's been round at turn 4, which suggests he's had some contact. Yeah, so I'm sure you wouldn't lose that by yourself down there. So unfortunately, one Williams looking very strong up the front, and one unfortunately just dropping back slightly now. James still sticking. Well, at the moment he's within the DRS zone, but he's not got the DRS open. So maybe just missed out through that final sector. As Lurchday now picks up a penalty for track limits. LS24 and Phillip Hogston both in the pits. So Jappy as well. So the soft tyres getting towards the end of their life. They're all going softs again. So it's looking like they're going the soft, medium option. Suguru in the pits as well. For the second time effectively after his early drive through. These two. Nice helicopter shot of your leading pair. Now 14 seconds ahead of P3. And Phil has jumped LS24 and Phillip Hogston, hasn't he? So if he can make those tyres stretch and do a one stop to the end of the race, then he's looking in a pretty solid position. Remains to be seen whether that sort of gamble under the VSC will pay off or not. Depends how much degradation he sees on the mediums, how far he can go and how much pace he can keep up. Alex K is pitting and James is pitting in behind him as well. Can they get this slowed down? They do indeed. So both your leaders in, and we'll probably see Snellhenk and Dragos in as well. It seems definitely the time for the soft tyres to come in and be changed, as just in time is probably going to continue on the medians. Yeah, he does indeed. A little bit of contact there between Snellhenk and Dragos. Just in time, he's going to take the lead. As Dragos gets a 5-second penalty for Dragos there for that contact. That's a bit of an interesting one. Schnitzy also moving up into P4 without pitting. Phil into P5. So, yeah, just in time. Having started right down the back. Let's just have a quick look at that. Position change up 16. So it's going pretty well for the Alpine driver at the moment. 4 seconds clear of Alex K and James, who have both just pitted and put on fresh mediums. So they've both gone soft to medium, whereas, as we said, the likes of Phillip Hogston going soft, and LS24, Dragos and Jappy also doing that. Suguru who's going to put the hard tyres on, interesting one. Both Haas drivers running at the back, unfortunately, at the moment. Lap 12 of 36. Third of the way through the race now. And still this battle is less than a second. It's not for the lead at the moment, but it is effectively for the lead of the race once just in time pits in. All pretty straightforward so far this evening. Only one DNF, only one virtual safety car. There's a lot of drivers running close behind each other, but it's mainly just DRS moves down the start-finish straight. Just James not quite close enough this time. And Schnitzy and Phil both spread out. Phillip Hogston is probably going to be making some moves on those soft tyres, as is LS24. Goes past Sky Baxendale, who's yet to pit. Huss is into the pits now. So, yeah, LS24 and Phillip Hogston, and even, I suppose, Dragos and Jappi, we'll keep an eye on those because they've all put new soft tyres on. You would expect them to have a pretty decent turn of pace, and he's putting Phil under pressure now, who's already done 10 laps on those mediums since his early pit stop under the virtual safety car. Just a few bits going on the Discord, so we'll see if we can see anything. A bit of chat about C1, so nothing from anyone in C2. And Phillip Hogston is about to go around the outside. Perhaps a Phil, there's going to be contact there, and Phil unfortunately goes spinning. Should be able to get back on track, spins up the rear wheels to get it turned. Recovers with P8, and yeah, looked a little bit naughty. We'll have to see after the race, but unfortunately, yeah, contact putting the Ferrari back down the order. So we've got some more yellows. It's all clear now. What's going on back here? We've got the other Ferrari involved in a bit of a three-way scrap with Monster behind him and Siguramato on those hards. Working them pretty well at the moment. Snellhenk and Jappi swapping positions again down the main straight. And oh, that got very close, didn't it, to the back of Dragos. As it's Phil now at the front of this pack. And maybe about to see a change of lead as well in the not too distant future. So once again, Jappi and Dragos now swapping positions. Can the Alpha run it around the outside? No, he can't. Jappi up into P9. So yeah, these are two of the guys on the new softs with yeah, pretty decent pace. What else is happening then? So yeah, the lead battle is closing up just in time. Not looking to pit just yet by the looks of things. Continuing on for another lap into lap 15 on this set of mediums. So he's taking them a fairly long way, it has to be said. But now Alex K does have the DRS, but James has the DRS to him as well. So the Williams driver is doing his best to give us a battle this evening. Alex K has definitely been one of the most consistently quick drivers in C2 this season. Not always put the result together, but yeah, James is at least giving us a race this evening. Still sticking within that 1 second window where he's been pretty much the entire race. Just in time now. Really hot. It's time to hold things up, and he's under no obligation whatsoever to let these guys through. They're racing very much for position. Oh, did he? What on earth happened there? Did he try to get out of the way? Or did he spin the rear wheels up? Either way, we've got James now taking advantage of that and taking the lead. And now just in time, all of a sudden, is between them. And that's incredible. Alex K, unfortunately, got caught up and has lost the position. And now stuck behind the Alpine, where James is able to break that 1 second window. Alex has been stuck behind the Alpine for the whole middle sector. He should clear him down the main straight relatively easily. But yeah, definitely losing out. And yeah, 1.5 seconds already to James. There's another round of pit stops to come for these guys yet. So it's definitely a long way to go. And he definitely has the pace to get himself back within that DRS zone as well. As Phil is dropping down the order in the final corner for some reason. And without the DRS, I think, as well. So he's going to drop to the back of this pack, and then he won't have the DRS either for the next straight. So Phil, unfortunately, dropping down to P10, just ahead of his teammate Lurch, actually. Sky Baxendale's been in the pits to put a set of softs on. So hopefully he can show some pace now. What else is happening? We're on lap 16 of 36, approaching half distance. Not the most action-packed race, it has to be said, but there is still a reasonable amount going on. And this is definitely one of the better battles. 4-car battle for P7. Although you'd expect the two at the front now to start making a little bit of a gap on those soft tyres for the next couple of laps. 3 or 4 laps on them each. So in fact we've actually got a bit of a group of soft tyre runners splitting the mediums. As Phil picks up a penalty. Quite a few penalties out there for track limits this evening, so if you can avoid them, you're doing pretty well. And who knows, late safety car might see you jump right up the order. Monster picks up another one. Soft tyres going on just in time, so I wonder if he's going to probably run double soft to the end of the race. As now then, 1.8 seconds the gap up the front. So James doing a good job now, using maybe a little bit more energy just to break away. As what's going on down the main straight is this group still just DRSing past each other. Now it's just in time coming out of the pits that's shuffling the leaderboard. What else have we got going on? Monster is trying to get past Sigaramatu on those hards. He's actually keeping pretty decent pace on the hard tyre, it has to be said. We weren't expecting to see it this evening, but we've got both Haas drivers running it at the moment. Oh, a little bit wide, a little bit sideways for Sigaramatu, and that might see Monster through towards the end of the straight, down into turn 4. No, not quite close enough. So, yeah, Haas, it has to be said, not looking great for them. And LS24 has actually done a pretty reasonable job of recovering to P5. He had an incident earlier on as well. Schnitzy's not pitted yet, up in P3. So he's gone a very long way. He's about to complete his 17th lap on this set of medium tyres and carries on for another one into his 18th lap. So he doesn't want to get rid of those mediums, does he? I would imagine there's quicker ways of running this race, and he has absolutely no energy left whatsoever, so Phillip Hogston is about to easily take P3. It's just in time also on those softs. In fact, Phil's in the pits for another set of tyres. What's it going to be? He's managed, 16 laps on this set. He's going to put a set of softs on. That's not going to go to the end then, is it? So that makes it a 3-stopper for Phil. So, yeah, neither here nor there really for that strategy. So, unless he had damage under the VSC that we didn't see, I'm sure we didn't see him changing a front wing. So, unfortunately, just looks like the strategy's not quite paid off for Phil. Maybe he was banking on some sort of safety car. But either way, yeah, what with that contact as well, it's not worked out for him really. James still leading the way though, from Alex K, Phillip Hogston, Schnitzy, LS24, RPM, Dragos, Jappy, Snellhank, just in time, Sigaramatu, Lurchday, Monster, Sky Baxendale, Phil, Huss, and Goran Potner. Vico is your only retirement, and I will be right back with you. Back to the action then. This lead battle just starting to close up again. Alex K's got it back down to 1.4 seconds now. So just taking a couple of tenths out of the Williams as they move into the second half of this race. Phillip Hogston once again running strongly. He's been skirting around the podium a couple of races this season. So good job by him so far. LS24 though very much in with a shot of that podium as well. The two Alphas running pretty well at the moment, although Schnitzy's still yet to make a stop. Having said that, he's run so long on this set of mediums, it would appear he's maybe going to try and make the one stop work, and actually could be in with a pretty decent result if he can keep himself clean. Just in time is closing in on Jappy with these fresh soft tyres, and this is the sort of pace that you can unleash on new tyres and almost running into the back of Jappy. He's got so much more grip. But yeah, start finish straight, that should be a fairly straightforward move. Monster and Lurch are not too far apart. And Phil, unfortunately, finds himself down the back once again. These soft tyres, though, will give him a chance of sending some decent laps. Just in time is about to take Jappy for P7. As Phil, unfortunately, picks up a pretty needless penalty there for running across that curb into the penultimate corner. Goes across the line with the fastest lap of the race, 17.3 so far then. On board with James through the middle sector. All pretty clean so far. A little bit of traffic up front. Goran Potner's not had the best of races by his standards. And yeah, it's all gone a little bit wrong for him this evening. And yeah, not looking great for Haas at the moment. But what's going to happen then in the final 16 laps of this race? James just still leading by 1.4 seconds from Alex Kay. Can't get himself back in that DRS window. Excuse me. There is probably going to be another set of pit stops for these two. So there's a chance yet for Alex Kay to maybe try the undercut. We know he's got some decent pace, of course, from qualifying on pole position. And he's just starting to close himself into that zone where he could pull the trigger a lap early and come out ahead of James when he makes his stop. Phillip Hogston, yeah, we've mentioned, doing a very good job. LS24 as well. Schnitz, he's still not pitted. Does he realise he can change tyres? He's allowed a new set. Still running ahead of his teammate, however. And what are they into now? The soft tyre runner's into sort of 8, 9 laps. So, yeah, Schnitzy, if he goes much further, he's just going to be there on merit, isn't he? He's maintaining a pretty decent gap, actually, to his teammate of just over 5 seconds. So, you know, Schnitzy's not looking a million miles away from a top 5 position here. He's effectively on the same sort of strategy then, isn't he? If he pits within the next lap or two. The problem he might come up against is what tyre to put on. Of course, he's only run the mediums so far, so he's going to have to run a different compound. And with the amount of time remaining, it's going to be a bit of a push to get a set of softs to the end with any sort of decent pace. And just in time now is very much on the back of Dragos. LS24's pitted again. He's still carrying on. So he's now up into P4. And to be fair, as just in time takes Dragos for P5, with the amount of laps Schnitzy's put on, maybe the top 2 could think about going to the end. It's not impossible. What's that? Effectively 12 laps more he's done on them. There's just about that left, maybe a lap or 2 more, yeah. But I'm sure they'll be able to stretch it on low fuel. Schnitzy, I'm sort of baffled and impressed at the same time as to this sort of 22 lap stint. Surely he's going to be in this time. He's not really losing too much time though, is he? Just in time behind on 4 lap old softs, and yeah, he's closing in, but I don't know. I don't know what to say about Schnitzy, to be honest. It's not the way I would have run the race, but it seems to be working for him. Phillip Hogston in a pretty lonely P3 at the moment, looking reasonably strong and pitting this lap. So is Schnitzy going to pit this lap? Are we finally going to see him in? No! What is going on? Schnitzy's up into P3, into his 23rd lap on this set of mediums. I hope he doesn't get a punch or anything. He's running with no ERS as well. How is he keeping up this pace with no battery and 23 lap old medium tyres? And he's still running P3. Just in time's closing in now. Dragos as well. So yeah, it does seem that those tyres are starting to really drop off a bit now. He's lost a couple of seconds to his teammate in the last lap or 2. Snellhank. James picks up another penalty, so that's really crucial. And Alex doesn't really have to overtake him now, doesn't he? He's fairly safe, just sitting behind. And still, it doesn't seem to really be improving for Ferrari. Even as we say that, Phil going down the outside to take P11 from Monster, and sits right behind his teammate Lurchday now. So 10th and 11th for the two Ferraris. What have we got going on? This is going to be a move for the lead, isn't it? Alex K very much within range. DRS open. He's going to take the lead, and with 6 seconds advantage on penalties, that could be crucial for the race result this evening. As just in time takes Schnitzy, who finally pits, so 23 laps on mediums, and he's going to manage to put the soft tyres on now and go to the end by the looks of things. So very good effort from him, and we'll see where he shuffles out towards the end of the race, because yeah, what a stint that was. And he's probably going to come out in a little bit of traffic, which is unfortunate, but either way, should have some decent pace on those softs. Can he get out of the head of the two Ferraris? Probably not. He should just slot in ahead of that Red Bull though, and might have a bit of a nibble at lurching into turn one, perhaps. Doesn't want to go losing his front wing and undoing all that hard work from that opening stint. But yeah, he's got to find his way past the two Ferraris somehow. Phil's got ahead of Lurch as well, so maybe a little bit of team tactics there with Lurch on the older and harder tyres. So what can James do to win this race? Somehow he's got to get ahead and gain 6 seconds at the moment, or hope that Alex K gets penalties as well. It's looking pretty comfortable for P2, it has to be said. And will they go to the end, or will one of them try a pit stop? If Alex K pits, maybe James's best hope is to stay out, try and do what Schnitzy's done and run super long on the mediums, and maybe put Alex K under a little bit of pressure that would force a penalty out of him. As Lurch barging his way through on Schnitzy there, gives back the position. As Dragos pits. So, that was the 5-second penalty being served as well. So that is going to put Monster's retired in the pit lane by the looks of things. So that's a bit of a strange one. If he could have gone another 11 laps, he would have picked up some points. But either way, that's our second retirement of the evening. As LS24 getting ahead of Phillip Hogston down the... What's happened there? Phillip Hogston's disappeared from our timing screen. Why is he down in 16th all of a sudden? Probably going to have to wait for the second sector for that to sort itself out. He's definitely not in P16. He's running in, I believe, P5, having put new medium tyres on. And we'll see very shortly. Phillip Hogston's left us. Oh no, we've lost. Oh. Oh dear. And yeah, stays P60. Something really bizarre has gone on there, and unfortunately we've got a Red Bull that's rejoined the track. And now been cleared. What's going on though? Because Phillip Hogston has left the session, but somehow his car's dropped right the way down the order. He's on track. He's running behind LS24, but and ahead of Phil. Yeah, that's very strange. Either way, that puts Phillip into P5 at the moment. Probably with another stop to make, though. Almost certainly with another stop to make. Schnitzy looking pretty good for that P5 at the moment, isn't he? Up the front, still within a second of Alex K's James, but unfortunately for him, we'll drop 6 seconds back, and it's looking pretty good for the McLaren driver so far, but it's been looking good for him for the last few races, and he's managed to find a way to lose it. So we'll wait to see what happens this week. James pits. Oh, he picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pits as well, so that's unfortunate. He was trying a bit of a gamble, and it's not come off. Chris Jones saying hi on the chat. Not entirely sure who that is. If we do know you by another name, please let us know, and we'll give it a bit of a shout out. Either way, good to have you. Thank you very much for joining us. As that's getting a little bit tight, isn't it? Just in time, and James has DRS, of course, from Alex K, and just about maintains that second position. Does he? What's going on with the timing screens? Let's see. What on earth is going on with the timing screens? That's not James at all. Wait, what? I know, was that... Right, I think we might have just made a bit of a mistake there. Yeah, it's Huss, who's a lap down, so it's the wrong Alpine. But either way, James staying ahead. We've got Lurch in the pits as well. That's first time for Chris, so yeah, good to have you, as we say. Always good to get some new viewers. So yeah, well, very much welcome to RLH. We're on lap 27 of 36. So yeah, still a fair way to go. Still plenty of action to occur. Alex K is pitting in now. And yeah, this should be fairly comfortable. He's going to put a new set of soft tyres on. It might even secure him the fastest lap, and that extra point that goes with it. So in fact, just in time, also pitting off those soft tyres. So it's going to be pretty much as you were. Does James get the position with that? Yeah, so maybe a little bit of an undercut there. He might just get the position. They're going to run side by side. And how much more exciting would that be without those couple of penalties that James has picked up? Unfortunately for him, just being ahead of Alex K is not going to be enough as it stands to take victory this evening. Schnitzy with that mammoth stint has put himself back up to P4, and although running slightly older tyres than just in time, so that gives the Alpine driver a chance towards the end of the race. Sigurd Marti running those hards has managed to get back up to P6. Phil's pitted for a new set of soft tyres. Chris, can anyone join the season? Yeah, if you... Wow, I've not done this on YouTube for a while. I'm sure somewhere in there is a link. Yeah, if you go to the About section on our YouTube channel, there's a link to the website, and all the information is on there. Or you can just Google Racing League Hub, and yeah, you can join the Discord straight from the website, and yeah, we'll be more than happy to see what we can do and get you racing in the near future. But, right, let's get back to it then. What have we got? Top two pretty much as they were, just in time, making a little bit of progress, starting to get maybe not quite in the DRS zone there. I think he just missed it, so Schnitzy might be safe for another lap. What's going on now? Jappi and Dragos both on mediums. Maybe they could make some progress against Sigurd Marti in the final laps on those hard tyres as they start to fade away. Both Ferraris now on new soft tyres. And on the outskirts of the top 10, Lurch. So yeah, pretty much a straight fight between the two Ferraris to the end. Sky Baxendale is just cut adrift a little bit. What else have we got going on? Phillip Hogston, no sign of him being back in the session. Unfortunately, he was running so well, wasn't he? And his car actually is still running ahead of Jappi. So he's still effectively running in P7, but for some reason he's just dropped off the face of the earth as regards the timing screen. I'll try and find out if we've not heard anything of him. So it looks like we've just lost him. Maybe, I don't know, maybe all internet access has dropped out or something for him. But either way, we've effectively got 13 runners because we hadn't had Huss since the start of the race with wheel trouble. So yeah, 13 is Goran Potner. Is the last of your true runners at the moment. But still at the moment, then we've got James leading the race, and he'll need to force some sort of penalties out of Alex if he's going to win this race. Lap 30 of 36. Not been an absolute classic, it has to be said. There's been a fair amount of movement. There's been a couple of mistakes and whatnot. Most of the overtakes have been DRS sort of motorway overtakes, if you like. So yeah, not a classic by any stretch of the imagination, but we have had a race-long battle up the front, which is unfortunately, as we've mentioned, been neutralised by those penalties. But in terms of the on-track action, these two have given absolutely everything, and there will be a little bit of pride to go with it. James, of course, would want to win the race and take the points, but he will also want to finish first on the track. LS24. 12 and a bit seconds behind with his penalty of his own as well. So James is going to be pretty comfortable in P2. Doesn't need to take any silly risks. Just in time. Moves up the inside of Schnitzy. So in fact could be looking at the back of LS24. Just in time could be looking at a podium here from the back of the grid. As we do have a change up the front. Alex K, as Phil receives another penalty. Only Sky Baxendale and Alex Kay. We shouldn't have said that, should we? Only Alex Kay has not picked up a penalty this evening. Phillip Hogston, in fairness to him, didn't before we lost him. So it's just your race leader at the moment who's kept himself clean and free of penalties. And he moves up into P1 on the track into the remaining 5 laps. And at the moment, it's mostly spread out. We've got a little bit of a move perhaps here. Phil making up a position to P9. And yeah, good stuff from him. Moves up the inside of Snelling. And beyond that, we've got these two runners, Jappy and Dragos, who've pretty much mirrored their strategies off each other this evening. Still running as they have, pretty close to each other all evening long in 7th and 8th. Sigurd Marty still somehow making those hard tyres work, having had that drive-through early on. He'll be going to the end, you would have thought, unless he fancies a run at another fastest lap towards the end of the session. But Alex Kay now takes that as Jappy picks up a penalty. Alex Kay takes the fastest lap of the race with a 17.1 as James now back in the DRS zone. But a little bit too far away into turn 1. He will get the rear wing open again down into turn 4. It's not the longest of straights, it has to be said, and turns 2 and 3 do tend to spread the cars out, so turn 4 isn't the best overtaking spot, it has to be said. But yeah, it remains as they were into the middle sector of the lap. What's going on here? Just in time has, I think, cleared LS24 is what's happened there, so rather than the Red Bull being on the back of just in time. Schnitzy, though, is looking to make a move as well on his soft tyres. Could be about to move up to P4, and we know he's good at looking after the tyres from that early stint. So LS24 might just be looking at a drop down to P5 here. But also depends on the number of penalties that we have to apply. I'm not even going to begin looking at that because, as you can see, everyone running, everyone's still running properly, bar Alex Kay, has penalties. And Dracos picks up another one. And that's through the middle sector again. I think that middle sector has really caught a lot of them out. There's been some sort of fairly avoidable ones through that final sector and down to turn 2 as well that we've seen, as we actually have another change of lead. But yeah, most of them I think have come through the S's and just running slightly wide. But either way, James now on track, taking the lead again. Schnitzy taking P4, which would be a very good result for him. Let's just have a look at the position changes. So yeah, just in time up 14, Schnitzy up 10. Both very good drives. Dragos up 4, Snelling up 3. Your big losers have been Phillip Hogston, that we lost completely. Who else? Lurchday down 4, Phil down 5. So yeah, Ferrari, unfortunately, very good qualifying session. Couldn't maintain that in the race. And obviously up the front, there's just been one change either way so far. They've shuffled among first and second between them a few times in this race. As you can see, 2 stops been the way to run this race this evening, but with a few exceptions. But we're about to see another change out, aren't we here? Once again, DRS down the main straight is going to be open for Alex Kay, and he's going to take a fairly easy move on the Williams, I'm pretty sure. And so this is lap 34, so lap 35 James should take the lead, and then maybe on 36 Alex Kay takes the lead back. That's looking like what's going to happen at the moment. Maybe we'll get a bit tactical on the penultimate lap. Who wants to lead into the final lap? That's the question. And we'll try and enjoy this. We'll just ignore the penalties. We'll try and enjoy this battle for the lead, for what it is on track in the remaining 3 laps. Can James come back at him? Has he got anything left in these soft tyres to put a challenge together? Both of them have run the same sort of race, haven't they? Soft, medium, soft. As we got a little bit of a position change going on there between Dragos and Jappy. Phil maybe maybe not. 3 seconds on Dragos, probably a little bit too much to ask, even with the soft tyres. So what is it? 0.86 seconds as they come through the final couple of corners. So yeah, DRS is going to be on the Williams once again. And into lap 35 of 36 we go. He's going to open the rear wing. And down into turn 1. Is he going to make the move? Is he going to sit behind the McLaren? He shut the DRS early, didn't he? Yeah, he shut the DRS early there by the looks of it. So, as we've said, getting a little bit tactical. Quite happy to sit for this lap, just right under the rear wing of Alex. Not going to make the move down into turn 4, I wouldn't have thought. The McLaren driver did feel the need to go a little bit defensive early on. But either way, none of them want to lead onto the start-finish straight for the last time. But it looks like Alex K is going to do just that. In the grand scheme of things, it means very little, but on track, it means absolutely everything. As Jappy and Dragos once again swapping positions down the start-finish straight. Lurch may be about to take Snellhenk as well, so Ferrari's now line astern in 9th and 10th again. But as we've just mentioned with the top 2, that could all change on the final lap down that long start-finish straight. The DRS seemingly just a little bit too effective down there and not quite effective enough down to turn 4. Leaves us with most of the overtakes being done on the main straight. Either way, we've found our way somehow to the final lap of the race, and James is very much in DRS range, pretty much the same gap as he was the lap before, but I think we're going to see the DRS very much open the entire way down this straight this time. No tricks this time. This is the last lap, and he's going to try and get as close as he can, but Alex K has maintained a little bit more battery, so it might be a little bit difficult for James here. He's going to have a run down to turn 4 with the DRS as well. Half a second in it. How brave is he going to get on the brakes down here? It's not close enough, is it? Alex K's got a good run, and as we've mentioned, the DRS not quite as effective down to turn 4. So he's going to have to get very adventurous now through the final part of the lap if he wants to get this move done. It looks like Alex K may have the win on the track through the middle sector for the final time. Less than half a second in it. There is another DRS zone to come. And James now closing in. He's going to use absolutely everything. Oh, we've got Phil off track perhaps. Yellow flags down at turn 1. But it looks like Alex K is going to come through. Not been the easiest of rides on track for him, but he will be fairly comfortable in the final timings. And he's going to come through the final corner. James has given it absolutely everything he can. Lights up the rear wheels as well, but Alex K finally takes that win after missing out the last couple of races. James with a second place. It actually picks up a 5-second penalty in the end. I'm not sure what that was for. Was that for the unserved penalty for speeding in the pits? I think it was. Just in time. What a drive from him from the back of the grid, having had that crash in qualifying. Schnitzy as well. Massive first stint. Lined him up for P4, although he drops to P5. Unfortunately, Sigaramatu, good recovery as well on the hard tyres after that early drive-through for speeding under the virtual safety car. Takes P6. Dragos now and Jappy, they've been glued together for most of the race. They'll take 7th and 8th, it seems. Jappy takes 7th and leaves the session immediately. Lurch moves up to P7, so and Snellhenk P8. Phil stays 10th, so yes, Lurch not picking up as many penalties and has managed to get himself a pretty decent P7 after all that. And we'll just complete the order in a moment. Already some congratulations going out between Alex and James. Yeah, good race. And Alex surprised by the pace James had on the mediums. But he does pick up another win. And looking good in the championship at half distance. Round 8 of, I'm pretty sure it's 16 rounds. So, yeah, getting already a long way into this season 11. And the McLaren driver, the lone McLaren driver once again, is looking pretty impressive, it has to be said. James, though, good pace this evening, and hopefully he can keep that up. And I'm sure if he can, a win will not be too far away. Picked up a few penalties this evening, and one for that speeding in the pits as well. That unfortunately just made it look in the official timings, make it look more comfortable for Alex than it actually was. But yeah, confirmation of your result then. Alex K, James just in time. LS24, Schnitzy, Sigaramatu, Lurch Day, Snellhenk, Jappy, Phil, Dragos, Sky Baxendale, Goran Potner, were your finishers then, the top 13. Huss and Phillip Hogston, we both had, well, Huss we had wheel trouble early on. Phillip Hogston seems some sort of connection issue. Monster and Vico were the on-track DNFs. So, yeah, that's your results for you for round 8, and we will be back next week with Baku, actually, so Azerbaijan next week, and no doubt that will be an absolute thriller. So yeah, please join us then. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, and yeah, have a good evening. Goodbye.